Moving in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, nah, likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane. Making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into...
Good evening, Steelers Nation. I hope you're having a fantastic Friday. I'm Daniel, this is State of the Steelers. Welcome to Sip of Steelers. We do a live Q&A and just kind of talk to you guys about Steelers football and what's going on. It's kind of the dead part of the year, though, so I understand it's probably going to be a little bit slow. But with that being said, I'll be opening up some questions to you guys, and we'll go forward from there. Yes, it's finally Friday. We have Steelers fan in the live chat. Let me know where you guys are coming from. Let's see. So, guys, what do y'all think about what's been going on here recently? We've had not so much news. Things have been kind of dry here recently. Minka Fitzpatrick just signed a historic deal. He's now the highest paid safety in NFL history. I think it's a good move for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's something that, in my opinion, should be done earlier on than later, unlike what we did with TJ, letting that, contract situation drag on last year. And so with that being said, Brian Brown asked, would I rather be called Daniel instead of State of the Steelers? Either or, man, to be honest with you. Daniel's fine. State of the Steelers is okay. The Steelers is the name of the channel. My name is Daniel, so you can call me Daniel, or it really don't matter. We have George Teston coming in from NEPA. I'm from Texas, so what does NE stand for? I'm not familiar with that. But I'll be going up to the Pennsylvania area later on this season when training camp goes into effect in Latrobe. I'll be there for the Friday Night Lights. I'll also be there a couple days early, so if you guys can get on, if you guys want to come and meet me or anything like that, I'll be open to be there. And so be good to see you guys. But before we get into the questions and whatnot, what I was saying beforehand is I think that the deal that we made with Minka Fitzpatrick is awesome. Last year we let the TJ Watt's deal kind of wait until the season almost started. He did great coming in against Buffalo, amazing. But then all of a sudden he started lingering with some groin injuries, and we can't say that was all because he wasn't playing. He wasn't participating in training camp or whatnot. But there is truth to being in football shape, and him only doing drills and things of those nature probably didn't help the situation or help him going in. And so getting this deal done now, not having to worry about it, letting Minka come in and participate in the in defense 100%, not holding out or holding in, is huge for us. It's going to be great. I think it's, he said it already, that the defense this year already seems to be more in focus. Not saying that last year was bad, but there was a lot of comments from the players last year stating that the team just wasn't focused in practice, that they need to get to practice. They needed to get, more focused. And this year he stated that going into training camp and going into the OTAs and whatnot, that the team's mental focus and preparation has just been on part and right there. And they're thinking less and moving faster. And so getting this deal done now and inking it in is a huge step for us. I love it. And it would kind of go into this next question that we have here from Steelers fan. Steelers fan asks, what do you think about Cowherd's statements? He basically, what he stated, if you haven't heard, was that the Steelers have basically focused majority of their money into the defensive side and allowed our offensive side to basically go to the crapper. And basically stated that he didn't like the Minka deal that I just spoke about, and that we should probably focus our money more on the offense, and then stated that the standard was, being above 500, and that the standard no longer is winning Super Bowls and yada, yada, yada. I think he's just looking for some clickbait, to be honest with you. There's nothing going on right now, and the Steelers aren't a hot topic. When you look at our own division, the AFC North has the Cincinnati Bengals that just went to the Super Bowl. We have the Cleveland Turds who are going through their whole Deshaun Watson situation, and Lamar Jackson has his holdout. And so a lot of the news is going there. There's not much talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, to be honest with you. And so, what is he going to try to do? He's going to try to raise us up, mess our feathers up just to get everybody going and just to talk about him. And so, in my opinion, I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers are doing the right move with what they've done. They put their money in where it counts. Just like I just said right now, we have Deshaun Watson, we have Joe Burrow, and we have Lamar Jackson. We need to focus our defense. We need to make sure that we can contain them and can beat them and control them. We can go out there and match point for point, but at the end of the day, defenses are what will win championships. And so when you look at some of the younger, you look at your Buffalo Bills, you look at your Chiefs, they were, before Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes got their big deal, everybody praised them because, well, they had a rookie quarterback doing great things and we're able to put pieces around them. Well, that's what I think we're doing right now. We're able to get a Miles Jack in the offseason. We're able to get Mason Cole. We're able to get a James Daniels and put these pieces around a young team and a young offense and solidify our defense to make a push. And so I think that Colin Cowherd's statements were just that, just a little bit of clickbait. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, everybody's just kind of talking about him right there. Exactly. Cowherd's been kind of salty ever since the Steelers beat them in the Super Bowl 40. He's a Seattle Seahawks fan, if nobody's aware of that. But with Minka signing, it's going to be pivotal. I think our defense is going to be huge. Not only do we have Minka, but we have Brian Flores also coaching the linebackers. Miles Jack and Devin Bush are going to be a great tandem. I question a little bit, to be honest with everybody here, about moving Bush into like the buck position of the middle linebacker, and just because of his size, he's not that. And for those who don't know, there's a Mac and a buck, and the buck is kind of like the Vince Williams style linebacker, and Bush hasn't been that, big presence in the middle, that dominant middle linebacker type of, middle linebacker. He's more the sideline to sideline, cover tight ends and slot receivers. And so putting him in that position is going to be kind of interesting to see. He's a smaller linebacker. He isn't big. He isn't heavy. And so I think this year, though, he did put on some weight. He did release a video earlier of him doing some training, and he looked a little bit thicker and looked a little bit bigger, but you can't work on getting taller. And so, he is on a little bit on the shorter side. So I find it a little bit curious putting him in that buck position of the middle linebackers. But, the Pittsburgh Steelers know what they're doing. Brian Flores is coaching them. He was, in my opinion, one of the better head coaches. What he was able to do with the Miami Dolphins and their staff, and while he was there, was, damn well good. They had a solid defense. I was there in 2019 when we actually beat them in 2019, but their defense was good. They had Fitzpatrick and whatnot during that game, and I think they were coming in on 0-7, but what he was able to do, I think that was his first year, was he was able to turn them around and make them competitive and get them to winning records. And so, it was unfortunate with what happened to him in Miami, but we reaped the benefit by having him as our middle linebackers coach. And so that tandem of Devin Bush and Miles Jack, in my opinion, is going to be one of the best in the NFL this year. I can't wait to see it. And I can't wait to surprise Joe Burrow come week 1 when we walk into Cincinnati and just punch him in the face. But yeah, guys, ask your questions. I'm going to be taking any questions you guys have now. We'll be going there forward from there. By the way, this is Sip of the Steelers. So tonight I'm enjoying a little bit of Coca-Cola and Texas Praline whiskey. It's a nice, smooth adult beverage that I call an old-fashioned myself because it just kind of reminds me of an old-fashioned Coke float. It goes down real good. Highly recommend it, guys. The Goonies, yeah, that's the cup that I'm using. Good eye there. Good eye. But yeah, guys, what do y'all think about Pat Fryermuth? I think he's going to be pretty good this year. I can't wait to see him. The way we played offense last year was very fast throwing, getting rid of the ball really quickly. We had an extension of the run using the short pass game, and we really didn't go into being in the middle of the field. We stayed away from it quite a bit. And so I think that this year defenses are going to kind of look at what we've been doing the last couple of years. And I think early on, we're going to surprise some teams by hitting over the middle with Pat Fryermuth. Let's see. Steelers fan asks, what do I think about the running back group? Well, like the running back group, along with the outside linebacker group. No, you know what? Scratch that. The running back group alone is top heavy, in my opinion. You have Najee Harris at the top. After him, it's like, what else do we have? It's not like when we had D'Angelo Williams backing up Le'Veon Bell, we had somebody that could take on the rank, so to speak, if Le'Veon went down or if Najee goes down this year. And God willing, he doesn't. But, after Najee, we have a Benny Snell. And my issue with Benny Snell is that he seems like a good back. He seems like a back that, needs to wear down a defense and eventually will kind of make his yards in the fourth quarter. And when teams are tired of hitting him, the problem is we're so heavy dominant on running the ball with Najee. Benny Snell's not going to get that opportunity to get that rhythm, to get that motion, to be that runner to pound somebody away. And so that's kind of concerning to me. Behind Benny Snell, we have Anthony McFarland. Now, Anthony McFarland is a change of pace type of back. He's a faster guy. And I think that if he can keep his feet underneath of him, he could be like I said, a great change of back or change of pace type of back, be the Alvin Kamara to the Melvin Ingram of the Saints back in the day type of situation. But he just hasn't been able to either stay on the field or when he's had his opportunities to stay on his feet. One of the problems or one of the things that I used to see or criticize when it came to McFarland was he reminded me a lot like Switzer when he would catch the ball, run back and forth, side to side, and then not go anywhere. And with Anthony McFarland, it seemed the same thing every time they gave him the ball. He juked really fast and moved side to side really quick, but ended up falling on the ground. And so if he can keep his feet underneath of him and start, going north and south versus east and west, he can be that change of pace back. There was a lot of rumors and speculation coming out last year that there was formations and plays in the training camp and in the mini camp setting where Najee Harris and then McFarland were in the backfield at the same time. That could be great, especially now that we have more mobile quarterbacks, running different type of, motions and things of that nature. We can really leave defenses guessing. And so I think it's very pivotal and very important that Anthony McFarland takes that next step and can not just do that, but stay available as well. Last year, his issue wasn't so much his play on the field, but his availability. He was injured, quite often. And so, if he can keep his feet under him, I think he's going to be pretty good. But it still doesn't answer the, who's going to spell Najee, because Anthony McFarland isn't that kind of back. Kalen Ballage last year, I thought that if we gave him an opportunity to run the ball, could, at least be serviceable in that position as a backup to Najee and lighten the load. However, we just never really either gave him that opportunity because it was just, Tomlin's idea to have a bell cow type running back, or if maybe perhaps what we don't have the privilege of seeing, which is practice and what was going on there. Maybe there was a lack of confidence in the Kalen Ballage last year. And so with that being said, we have, one more person to sign on the team. We're sitting at 89 and we have the ability to have a 90-man roster. And I think that spot's going to be taken up by either a running back or a outside linebacker. But either way, before week one against the Cincinnati Bengals, I think there's going to be another running back in that group. Hopefully so. Let's see what else we got here. Let's go through these. Yeah, right here. The cornerback position. Let's see. Let's go into it. We have Levi Wallace and Witherspoon on the outside, and then we're going to have Arthur Mollett and Cam Sutton on the inside, or for slot, going back and forth. I know that there's a lot of concern out there, and that, you know, with the loss of Joe Hayden and the experience that he has, it's going to be interesting to see what we're going into this year. But one thing that's really going to help our cornerback position is going to be, well, two things. It's going to be the better play of, or the better play of the front line, you know, getting more pressure and the ability for, like, getting Tyson Alualu back, and you know, Cam Hayward going in there in the middle, and then TJ Watt pressuring the quarterback. That's really a cornerback's best friend, to be honest with you guys. And so Tyson Alualu coming back is going to be big. It's going to be huge. Also, Minka Fitzpatrick's going to cover a lot of problems that the defensive backs may or may not have. And so as long as we're not giving a quarterback a tremendous amount of time to dissect our defense or our defensive backs, I think we're going to be okay. I'm not sure if we were to get another defensive back, if one would be able to take, you know, either a Witherspoon's or what's his name, Levi Wallace's position away. But, you know, I was really hoping earlier that maybe Joe Hayden would come back and potentially play on the inside. He did take a step backwards, you know, he did lose a step, I'm sorry, when it came to speed. And it was pretty evident that he was having a little bit of difficulty last year when it came to faster receivers. But his knowledge of the game, it's amazing. You can't match that. That comes with experience, you know, his ability. And one play that I think of the most, that most everybody thinks of, is when he intercepted Tom Brady. He came off of his coverage, pulled back, and intercepted the ball that was going to the tight end. And so, you know, those are things that aren't, you know, that come with experience, they come with time and whatnot. So we're really going to miss those things. The pressure is going to be up front. You know, if Highsmith can take another step forward and pick up double-digit sacks, you know, maybe not being 18, 19, or 22 like, you know, TJ Watt, but being that 10 to 14 that Bud Dupree was, you know, in the latter end of his tenure with the Steelers, then I think that that's going to be huge and dynamic for our defensive backs. If you look at 2019 and you look at how good we were as a defense, and I mean, we had Minka Fitzpatrick having turnovers everywhere. We had Joe Hayden making interceptions like crazy. Well, we had a tremendous amount of pressure on the quarterback. You know, we had, you know, both of our outside linebackers making double-digit sacks. And so if Alex Highsmith can take that step forward and make that next next gain and hit that 10 to 12, 14 sacks and really merit with TJ Watt there, then that's really going to do well for our defense. You know, the interior defensive line, I think, is the big question, just not because of the fact that the question is the ability, but just because of the experience. We have Leal coming in. He's a rookie. We have Loudermilk, who's going to be replacing Stephon Tuitt's position a little bit more. I know Tuitt didn't play last year, and it was more of a rotational piece with Wormley last year and Loudermilk, but all indications coming in this year is that Loudermilk has gained quite a bit of weight, and in a good way, and in a muscular way, similar to Najee Harris has this offseason. And so I'm really excited about it, but I think, our cornerback position is going to be one that kind of similar to last year, where we went into it thinking that Pierre was going to take that step, and we didn't do anything. We didn't make that trade or whatnot for Witherspoon until after we saw that Pierre wasn't going to be what we expected. And so we're going to get, in my opinion, I think the Steelers are going to give Wallace and Witherspoon that opportunity to be those number one and number two cornerbacks. You know, one thing, though, that the Steelers defense don't do is they don't travel. They don't have their cornerbacks travel with a number one receiver. And so in the years past, at least, they'd have one guy on one side and the other one on the left, one on the right. And so it'll be interesting to see if that still stays the same going into it now. Let's see, what else do we have here, guys? Yes, you know, the deep ball, it does worry me. You know, I was there in 2019 in Arizona when Duck came in and and we won against the Cardinals. And there was one play where Kyle Murray threw deep, and I can't remember who the receiver was, and Terrell Edmonds had it perfect and jumped up, read the ball correctly, and the ball just went straight through his hands, and the receiver caught it. And, that's kind of the reason why the gunslinger quarterbacks have always kind of worried me more than the mobile quarterbacks too, as well, is because those gunslinger quarterbacks are going to throw the deep ball regardless if it's open or not. And with Terrell Edmonds back there, his ball skills, so to speak, hasn't been there. He's more of in fact, one of the interceptions that he caught last year, he caught it kind of weird. It was like he caught it with his forearms. It was kind of funny, but yeah, no, I understand that. I get that. That is a big concern. However, that deep ball, it can only be thrown if the quarterback has time, and if we can have T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith, up the gut there, then that quarterback won't have time to hit that deep ball, or at least not accurately, or at least not with confidence, or making that right choice. And that's going to leave some more opportunities for our safeties to come and do some things. But I'm excited. I can't wait. This is a big year for Terrell Edmonds. He came back for, basically a very, very low salary, and one that I honestly didn't think he was going to come back for. Not here. He stated that he had some opportunities, and he had some other teams that were calling for him. I think one of them was the Cincinnati Bengals, and I think that they just came off of a AFC winning season, and so it wouldn't have been a big surprise if he had gone that direction, but decided that the Pittsburgh Steelers were the best fit for him, and that was going to make him propel himself into a better opportunity next year, whether it's with us or another team. He's playing for a bigger contract. So look for some big things to come his way, because if not, it's this season on the line for it. Let's see. Wow. Steelers fan. Who do you think is going to be the starting quarterback? Well, I think that the starting quarterback is going to be Mitch Trubisky. I think that by the year one, that it's going to be Mitch. In my opinion, it'll be Mitch. It'll be Mitch, and then it'll be Kenny Pickett number 2, and then Oladoku number 3. I think that, unfortunately, Mason Rudolph's time with the Pittsburgh Steelers might be coming close to an end. Like I said earlier, that the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't a team that live or claim to be a team that live in their fears or seek comfort. And the only reason at this point to have Mason Rudolph on the team is for those 2 points. He's the only quarterback that's been on the team that's been in the offense the longest. And so there's the comfort. And the only way he's going to see the field is if somebody gets hurt. So there's the fear. So in my opinion, given the fact that we don't live in our fears or in comfort, I don't think he's going to be here, which is why I'm wearing his jersey today, because I'm a big fan of Mason Rudolph. I thought he was going to have an opportunity to be the franchise guy. And I think if Earl Thomas doesn't knock him out, he may have that opportunity. But, things didn't go that way. His days here are probably numbered, and I don't think I'll be wearing this jersey much longer. So I thought I'd throw it on while I still can. But I think Mitch Trubisky is going to go in there. The only way that Mitch Trubisky doesn't go in there being the starter is if come preseason and the bullets start coming, if he's not, making the right reads or progressing correctly. But all indications so far is that he's been reading correctly. He's been making the right reads, and his process of the defense has been the quickest from the quarterback so far, which is super concerning for a Mason Rudolph. He's been in the team the longest. You would think that his process of the offense would be the fastest. And so that's one main thing that I think is going to be one of the reasons why Mason's not going to be there. In 2019, I saw Mason play against Miami Dolphins, and one thing out of that game that I saw was that he was making the right reads and making the right decisions, but it was like he was half a second behind. Had the game slowed down maybe a half a second, I thought that he would be a very serviceable starting quarterback in this league. And we can fast forward to here recently. I was listening to the Arthur Moats Experience with Deke not too long ago. And Arthur Moats had the privilege with Steelers Nation Radio to be on the sideline during OTAs and this past mini camp. And what he stated was that Mitch Trubisky, after especially the play action pass, his progression and where he was looking first was the fastest of the three. and that Mason was making the right choices and making the right reads and looking the right direction, just a little bit too slow, though, like a half second behind or a half step behind. And that just kind of reminded me of what I thought of what I saw back then in year 2. We're in year 5 now with Mason, and he still seems to be a little bit slower. So at this point, it's like, I think he's a serviceable number 2. I think he thinks he can be a number 1, and he's going to want that opportunity. And I don't feel he's going to get that opportunity here. So I think come training camp or preseason, when a starting quarterback goes down, I think we're going to see Mason Rudolph leaving the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's see. Wasn't he a rookie then? Rudolph was as good as Trubisky. So Rudolph was a second-year player in 2019. We drafted him in 2018. He was the third quarterback behind Joshua Dobbs when his rookie year came. Joshua Dobbs lit it up in the preseason game against he lit it up all preseason and beat out. Well, they had a really good battle, to be honest with you, that year. The year before is when Dotson lit it up and beat out Landry Jones. But with Mason, he was the third quarterback coming in. I remember there was a lot of questions about that he couldn't beat Joshua Dobbs for that second string position. And so going into the 2019 year, we ended up trading Joshua Dobbs to the Jacksonville Jaguars for a fifth round pick. And then Ben goes down in the second week. And so there goes Mason. And then we re-signed Duck, who became famous. I had a little duck, like a rubber ducky that they were handing out at in the parking lot in Arizona. It was funny, like that game there was taken over by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I've been to a few games and a lot of away games. Majority of them are away. As like I said before, I'm a Steelers fan from afar. I live in Texas, so I am a season ticket holder, and I do try to go to at least 1 or 2 games a year in Pittsburgh. However, a lot of the games I do tend to see is when they come down this way. And so I've been to Houston, I've been to Dallas, I've been to New Orleans, and I've been to Arizona to see the Steelers play that are close. And I can tell you that in every single one of those places outside of New Orleans, the Pittsburgh Steelers have taken over. There was like at least probably 1,000 fans of the Pittsburgh Steelers to like 10 of the opposition in every city that we've gone. It is amazing how well we represent our team when we're out there and in the away, when we're on the away side. And I put that in quotations. But like I was actually having a conversation with another podcaster not too long ago, and I was telling them, like, when I travel for game days or for games, and we're going into connecting cities, and there's different fans from different teams going all over the place to try to catch the games, you can definitely see a tremendous and different outnumber of Steeler fans than any other team out there. It is amazing. Let's see. Joshua Dobbs, the Browns' new starter. Well, he's definitely going to have an opportunity. I don't think that Deshaun Watson's going to play anytime soon. Deshaun, he kind of put himself in a pickle, so to speak. He, in my opinion, he probably should have settled these cases a long time ago. But even if he did, with the sure amount of women that have come forward or been alleged, I don't think that it would have made a difference. Somebody would have came forward. I think that it was reported that he had met with 66 women, over a 17-month span. So that's huge. Only 24 of them have come forward. That's like a third. And so there's still, twice as many women that potentially could come forward with some allegations against him. In fact, the most recent one was one that was reported that the Deshaun Watson camp, his legal camp, had no idea was coming forward with any issues. And so I don't think he's playing. So it's going to be Joshua Dobbs versus Brissett. And, the Browns are the Browns, so don't be surprised if it's somebody else. I know they're trying to keep Baker, but he's disgruntled. He ain't going back. There ain't no way he's going to be there. And that's funny because only the Browns can finally get a quarterback that can take them to the playoffs and win a game, regardless of what happened. And in my opinion, the Steelers beat themselves that game, but it is what it is, and I don't make excuses. So they beat us that game. So They finally get a quarterback, beats their rival in a playoff game. And what do? They piss him off by getting a quarterback that can't play for probably 2 years and waste draft picks that could have, taken up another quarterback. Only the Browns can be the Browns and brown out that situation, and it's good for them. Good for them for doing it. They deserve it. I'm glad that the Browns are going to end up losing draft picks and money over this. Way to go. But I digress. But I think that Joshua Dobbs does have a chance. He's a smart guy. He's a rocket scientist. So if the Browns had any sense, you think they put the guy with the most intelligence in there to read the defenses. But, the Browns are browning out their entire, football situations, their entire career lives. Let's see what else we got. If I were Baker, he definitely did. There's no way that Baker Mayfield is going to play for them ever again. It'll be weird to see him in a different colors. I never expected to see them go away from him. It's quite odd and funny to see that they're doing that, but it'll be weird to see him either in Carolina or in Seattle. I know there was a lot of reports earlier on in the year that if the Cleveland Browns dropped in, that the Pittsburgh Steelers were going to pick him up right away, and I thought that was hilarious. The Pittsburgh Steelers have been making a statement out of him for so long. I don't think we want him, but there is the question though. Had he been dropped before we got Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett, would you guys want Baker Mayfield over Mason Rudolph if that was the option? I think if that was the option, that's still kind of hard, but I think that's the only way Baker Mayfield would have ever made his way on a Steelers roster if that was the only option. Fortunately for us, we got Mitch Trubisky, we got Kenny Pickett. I think, but going back to the question about who I think is going to be the starter, I think that Kenny Pickett's definitely going to be the starter. I mean, Mitch Trubisky is definitely going to be the starter week one, unless he just kind of, like I said, once the bullets start coming in, if he's not making the right reads and stuff, then they're definitely going to pull him. But I think he's going to have a longer leash than what people are expecting. He's definitely not going to be the kind of guy that's going to go into maybe 2 weeks in a row, have a couple bad games, and they're going to yank him. I think the expectation is that Kenny Pickett's going to ride the bench probably this entire year, just learn, be ready to go probably next year. And I think he's going to be good next year. Mitch Trubisky's on a prove it type of year then at this point. If we're going to be moving to Kenny Pickett next year, Mitch is going to have to show up, for a team to want to pick him up and for him to continue to be a starter. And so he might be able to move the ball for us. And that's a good problem to have. If Mitch Trubisky goes in there and he lights it up, I mean, shoot, I'd be happy as hell going to the playoffs and maybe win the playoff game this year. That'd be great. But, if he doesn't, I think that our bye being in the middle of the season could be the earliest time that we can see Kenny Pickett. We have the Browns coming in right off the bat, and then we have the Bengals that we're going to right off the bat. I'm sorry, and then we're going to the Browns week 3 on a Thursday night on a short game. I don't think we're going to throw the rookie anywhere between there. And we have Buffalo between after that as well. So I'm thinking that if Kenny Pickett's going to make make a move to be in the starter this year, is definitely going to come after the bye. But if at the bye we're above 500, I don't think we're going to be switching off. Let's see what else we have. Yeah. What happens if Trubisky balls out? Do we just leave Pickett on the bench like Packers and did Rodgers? I think that's going to be our best move. We have Mitch Trubisky for next year. It's a 2-year deal. So if he balls out, he could be trade capital for next year as well. And we can definitely get some help, whether it's in the middle linebacker position to help out Miles Jack. Because unless Devin Bush completely balls out this year, I don't know if we're going to pick him up next year. He's not going to be in that position. He's being pushed to the buck position instead of the Mac. So I don't think he's going to be in a position to show off or show up like he would had he been with the green dot and be the Mac inside linebacker. So I think next year we might make a splash by getting a huge inside linebacker in the draft. Now that I'm thinking about it, and we can use Mitch Trubisky as trade capital to do so. And so I think that Omar Kahn and the Pittsburgh Steelers are putting themselves in prime position, not just for this year, but for the future and for the next few years to be not just relevant, but Super Bowl contenders and making runs and having that Super Bowl window wide open. Only time will tell. I know we're putting the horse before the cart there. We haven't taken a single snap yet, but that's the off season, and this is the best time to get excited. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's undefeated right now. Let's see. What's Khan's next big move? Speaking about Omar Kahn, that's a good transition right there. Omar Kahn, I think he's going to sign Chris Boswell, and then I think it's going to be, Boz, and then I think we might sign Deontay Johnson. I think it was man, I'm going to butcher her name, Titi Kubala. Sorry about that. She came out of the Fan or something like that, and they were talking about the Minka Fitzpatrick deal, and she stated that she was talking with the Steelers and that they had indicated that Boz and Deontay Johnson are next. And so I think Deontay Johnson is going to get that contract extension. He is a receiver that had a lot of criticism due to the fact that he's had the ball dropped a lot, or he's had a lot of drop balls. And then he kind of faded out last year. Last year in the beginning of the year, he covered up that that ball drop situation, but towards the end of the year, it kind of reared its ugly head. I think that if he can just get over that mental aspect of it and just catch the ball, he'll be pretty good. His route running ability is amazing. I've watched tape on him. I've watched films, and the guy seems to find his way to be open all the time. It's just watching the ball hit his hands. It just seems that he's the type of receiver that when the ball's coming, he's looking to see what the next move is, and he ends up coming up short with the ball. And so, his ability to run routes is definitely a top, receiver ability, but there's more than just running routes. You also have to be able to catch the ball and have yards after the catch and be dynamic. And I think it's a little bit concerning. George Pickens, I think his physicality and his ability to catch the ball away from his body is amazing, and he's going to be the future number one receiver. But if George Pickens can be our Martavius Bryant, and if Deontay Johnson can be the AB that we used to have when we had the killer bees, then that would be great for our passing offense. And not just that, that'd be great for Najee. That would allow defenses to back on up and allow Najee Harris just to feed down in the running game. And then once defenses come in, then just throw them over the top. So there's so many things that we can do and what we can do. But I think those are Khan's next big moves. Then the other thing and the other question that everybody has is, we're at 89 men on our roster when we're allowed to have 90 people. And we have one opening, and the Steelers haven't, put anybody there. And the reason why I think that maybe perhaps they haven't done that is because the player that they're wanting to fill that position may not be available right now. That player may be on another team, and the Steelers might be waiting for either a trade to take place or, to come August and, somebody get cut, similar to Joe Hayden when the Browns, again, let go a dynamic cornerback in his prime. And so I think that we're going to wait for something like that to happen. I personally think the outside linebacker position needs to be addressed along with the running back position as far as depth. But the outside linebacker position more so, if you look at last year's percentages, you had Taku Carlton and Derek Tuska playing significant defensive snaps. And I believe respectively somewhere around 25 to 28%. That's huge. TJ Watt missed like 2 full games, and then he was out partially on 2 other games. That it's a long season. It's 17 games. Whoever that third piece, rotational outside linebacker is going to play some defensive snaps. And right now we have Jannard Avery, we have Tuska, and we have Skipper, and not a lot of confidence in my opinion. And so I know last year we were kind of scorned and kind of burned with the Melvin Ingram signing. He came in and he was expecting to probably beat out Alex Highsmith. And when he didn't, he was upset. And I get it. But if we live in our fears yet again and not sign somebody who potentially be a significant, role piece in our defense, then we're going to really be hurting towards the latter end of the season when we definitely need that rotational piece. And so I think that 90th person is going to be the next big move. I think it's going to be a big outside signing. That's the one thing that Omar Kahn hasn't done. He hasn't had a big free agent signing from outside of the organization yet. And so I think that's the move that's going to come, but don't expect it to come anytime soon. I expect that move to come sometime once training camp starts. Let's see what else we have, guys. We are running a little bit, man. We're already done 40 minutes. This is probably the longest live I've ever had. I really appreciate all the support, guys. Please don't forget to hit that live and hit that live. Don't forget to hit that like and subscription button. We are giving away 2 tickets to see the Steelers play the Jets this year on October 2nd to a lucky subscriber. All you have to do is be a subscriber to be entered into the contest. I highly encourage you guys to hit that notification button, since we'll be going live on July 4th to give away those 2 tickets, and you'll have to be present on the live. So, today it's, we're still growing the channel. So today we've only had I think at one point we had 10 folks on there. So, the opportunity is there for you guys to really get some great seats. They're in the lower level. They're in the end zone. And it's actually a couple of seats away from one, David Schofield from the Behind the Steel Curtain. Shout out to those guys. Also, guys, if you haven't subscribed or seen Steeler Nation Australia and Ritzberg Owen, I highly recommend going and following those guys. I was on their show yesterday as a guest host with Mark D and Ritzberg Owen, and it was fun. It was a great time. Go back and watch that channel, or go watch that show. Those guys will be coming on with me soon, and we'll be kind of rotating a little bit. We've been talking about that. Also, next week, I anticipate having me and Dave Schofield from Behind the Steel Curtain have been talking about going live together on this channel. So if you want to see that live next week, highly recommend hitting that like and subscribe. Man, I love that. This is great. Let's watch this. Now you're part of the family now, man. Support all the Steelers. Yes, sir. I love it. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for accepting me into the Steelers family. I appreciate it. I do daily lives. I do daily segments where I talk about the Steelers, in my opinion, on what I think we're doing and what our next move is. And I do a weekly live. Once the season starts, those lives will be more. I'll have probably 2 or 3 more going on during the week. Right now it's a little bit content's a little bit hard to come by because it's dry. And the one thing that I tell everybody, it's good, because at this point in time, no news is good news. Only news that can come out is some horrible stuff outside of signings and trades. So if we get something like that coming in, it's great. But once the season starts picking up and we start going into training camp, it's really going to get going. I'll be going out to training camp, like I said before, and hope to meet some folks out there and hope to meet some players and coaches. Hopefully I can get somebody on to interview. You guys don't want to miss all that stuff. But with that being said, guys, I am getting a little bit late here, and I'm going to go ahead and let everybody go. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe, and go Steelers, and peace.